Good morning. This is Crystal Woods with Seasons in the Vine, and it's Fresh Friday. And today I'm going to talk to you about capacity. It's just been a thing that I have loved to learn about and just develop into my life, a place where I like to meet with Jesus and see what's going on with my capacity. What season am I in? What am I supposed to be giving away? What am I supposed to be keeping? And just doing that kind of assessment. And so capacity is really, I like to do this when I meet with people and talk about it. It's just like what you have available to give. And there are things that are already in this little well of capacity. And there are must-haves and things that are not to be taken out. And then there are things that we can shift and trim and let the Lord prune so that our capacity remains the most fruitful, because it's all about growing fruit in every single season. So capacity is really, really important. And knowing this is the season I'm in, so this is the limited amount of capacity that I have. Did you know that you're human? I used to have the hardest time dealing with the fact that I was human. I mean, I got that I was human, but I was really upset with limitations. And like, what do you mean I just can't do everything I want to do? I can't do 1,000 things just because I want to. I need to. My identity played a big part in that years ago, and just wearing 1,000 hats that I didn't really need to wear. And which hat is Jesus actually calling me to wear? And that's a huge growth area in my life. I like to call it a laser focus, another little circle. Like if it's not in the circle, I'm not going to do it. I'm only going to do the things that Jesus has called me to in this season. And knowing what season you're in is really important. Let's say you're in a season of grief and grieving. Maybe there's been a loss or an adjustment. Then you need to know, like emotionally, that's already really pulled on that capacity. So you might not have a lot of extra for relationships that are high emotional demand. You may need to limit exposure to shows you watch on TV or books that you read or drama that you get into with friends, and know that I'm just not good for that right now. I don't have a lot to pull from. How do you know what season you're in? Talk to Jesus. Take a look around at what's happening. What is he bringing into your life? What's happening in your heart, in your soul, in your mind? How are you growing? Are you in a season of intense discipleship? When I went to seminary, that was a whole year where I was off the radar. And I told my friends, I'm going to be a really bad friend for a year. I'm not going to be able to do coffee dates. I'm not going to be able to hang out on Friday nights. Like, I'm not going to be able to do any of these things because my commitment in this season is to my studies. And I have 1 year to get an entire master's degree done in. That was what the Lord gave me. And he gave me the capacity to do that and take care of my family. And then that was it. So everything else had to take a back seat or a pause for a time. And we feel like we can't say pause because everything is like gimme, gimme and instant in our society. But we can absolutely say pause. I need a moment. I need to go pray. I need to take a day off and process. Like if you really have things going on, you're not to be pushing them down and holding off processing them. You're to be giving them to the Lord. This is what we see Jesus do over and over again. He has all of these emotions, or he's moved in compassion and he's going to his Father. Okay, what are we going to do? What do you want me to do? And that's how we're to live. But if we're running from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, how will we have time to have health in that? How will we have time to have time with Jesus? If you're not having regular time with the Lord, like that's not okay. It's not good for you. So I wanted to just present to you this idea of capacity. I've talked about it again years ago when I was first coming out of my healing journey, and in learning a lot about myself and restructuring my life and changing things. But we are to be a people of rest, a people of Sabbath, regular rhythms of rest. That means we might have a busy season. I had a busy season last year when the business launched. I was finishing the Bible study, so writing a book, and beginning to meet with people one-on-one, and there were just 1,000 things. And I was doing events too. So it was up and running super quick like that. And the Lord sustained me for a time. And then he sat me down and said, if you keep going the way that you are, that's you, not me. I'm not telling you to do that. And it's out of balance. It's not what I've called you to. So are you in the business of doing what I've called you to, or what you're going to do or wanting to do? And so it's that continual surrender. So I had to scale down and put structure in according to what the Lord said my life should look like in that season. He gave me a special grace to get through that busy season, because that was of him. It was a time. But busy seasons do not become your life. They do not become your year. They don't. There has to be a pattern of rest and Sabbath. So you might be in a busy season for 3, 4, 5 months, but know the end is coming. Set an end date and stick to it. I cannot sustain any kind of health and wholeness and wellness with this kind of busyness, which is just the truth. We didn't see Jesus doing that, and so we don't need to do that either. Now, will there be some flack and people that have a hard time with that? Sure, but you don't have to worry about that. You listen to the Lord and you answer to the Lord alone, because we live radically different than the world. We're kingdom people. So that means being a child of God means I can actually rest. I can actually say like, oh my gosh, I would love that opportunity, but that's not in the season that I'm in right now. So I can't. Oh, wow, that fits my giftedness. I would be really good at that. That would be fulfilling. Okay, all the good things, but it's actually not what I'm called to right now. And really getting sharp and standing firm in what the Lord has called you to do right now. Maybe you're in a healing season. Well, then you need to know that a majority of your emotional, spiritual, and mental capacity, this here, is going to be towards that. And then that means I'm not a part of other things. Because you say yes to one thing, that means that you're saying no to other things. We're not saying yes to everything. And that can be really hard, especially if your identity is in what you do, which is how it used to be for me. So rest proves that you actually trust the Lord. Rest proves that you are actually in relationship with him and you know he's got your back. Scripture tells us that the world will toil every day for their clothes they need, for money, for housing, for all the things that are real things. But we are to trust the Lord, and he will dress us like the lilies of the field, like grander than even Solomon was dressed. That's what scripture tells us. That's crazy. And so we are a people of God when we're a people of rest and Sabbath, where we don't have to run the hamster wheel to prove anything, because Jesus has proved it all. That also means we stick to our commitments, which is why it's so important. Your yes be a yes and your no be a no. It's so important that when you are in a season, you know what capacity you have. You might be in an outward, an upward, very public, blooming season, it appears, and therefore you're out more. And then other times you might be in a season where you're hidden and the Lord is doing deep soul work with you. And I like to say you're not suitable for public consumption. I know I had a time where I was no good in public. Like there was too much happening inside, and I needed that time with the Lord to get well and to move forward. And so that is just the best place to be. And it's a good and solid place to be when we're able to say, like, this is what I know God is doing in my life. And this is how I need to respond because he is doing this in my life. And if this is what's happening, then all these other things are not happening. And if this is what was happening, oh, this matches perfectly and this will go at that same time. But know your capacity. Know when you're running healthy. Some of you are just too stinking busy. You're running ragged. The mind is all over the place. There's too many things going on, and you just need to know that's not the Lord's plan for you. You may have a season of that, but there has to be an end date, and there has to be a restful new beginning. And so that is something we just must grow in. And how do you do that? Relationship with the Lord. Talk to the Lord about it. Be observant of what he's doing in your life. Look around. Where do I need to be? Maybe you need to be home with your kids. Maybe you need to be home working on your marriage and letting other things go for a time or maybe forever. It's hard to say. There's some things the Lord cleaned out of my life forever, and then some things he brought in, but he was the one that was restoring. He was the one that was pruning. He was the one that was deciding, and I was yielding to that. And that's what we do. That's how we learn, and that's how we grow the best. And so I wanted to just leave you with that. Let me check my notes. Seeking godly rhythms in your life and season. We covered that. And heed the warnings in advance. There are warnings. You know if you're getting wore out or tired, or maybe you're not doing enough and you're apathetic and lazy and it's time to get to work. You know where you're at and what's supposed to be happening. And seasons change. So nothing should be going on forever. You're growing in the Lord. You're changing in the Lord. There's always more. There's glory to glory, acceleration in the kingdom. And so just keep that in mind as you meet with the Lord and figure out what season you're in, if you don't already know, and like, what's my capacity right now? And am I being fruitful in this? So much love. See you next week.